It's time for the BMW Open. Keep your eyes too. There's a father and daughter combination out there. There's Kent Bagent, a well-known racer from way back, and his daughter Stephanie driving the new 38. It's a new BMW M4. So, keeping it in the family and racing. That's what we love.
Thank you, Stephen. Greg Rustin commentary with you. Delighted to be joined by Zach Lawrence, and we've got some very cool machinery. I think a little glimpse at a 2002 there a moment ago as well, and a car that, I mean, the origins of that date back to the late 60s, early 70s, don't they?
Well, as does the driver, actually. He's actually one of the founders. There are 3 drivers in this field that have been in this series for the full, I think it's 17 years, and Mike Delmont in his 2002 is also accompanied by the same car that he started in roughly 17 years ago. So yeah, it's got some real history in the series as well as elsewhere.
And the polar opposite end of the scale is some very modern machinery. BMW racing in this country really kind of shifted into gear with some very passionate BMW club members back in 2006. One of them, the Momo machine, headed for the paddock area. But since then, the numbers have swelled. We now have this beautiful open class with some amazing machines, don't
absolutely. we? It's been a considerable arms race probably in the last 10 years or so as technology has become more accessible. Budgets have increased. It probably started with, in the original days, with guys just putting a roll cage, a race suit on, and some race pads and going racing, but it's certainly wound up a great deal since then.
55 with the beautiful New Zealand flag on the side of the rear wing is Grant Dalton. People will know that name exceptionally well around sporting circles here in New Zealand, sailing circles in particular. We are set to go racing, open class. Dalton gets it sideways off the line, just struggling for traction, and he gets monstered by all of them. He's tripped back to about 5th place now.
You got Grant out front there in a 6-cylinder GTR engine vehicle. He's absolute screamer, and then we have Warwick bringing up 2nd place in his IMSA, I believe, V8 powered M6.
Mortimer that you're talking about, and IMSA, of course, is a series that fans of American racing will know very closely, that formula, if you will, and that's another thing that permeates this class. Probably a few people wondering about why we've got a Mini in there. Well, Mini has a very close, tight connections with the BMW platform.
Well, I've been preparing that car today, so I hope it goes well. Milan Klinak in the Mini, it's an X-Challenge Mini from a series that ran around the world about 20 years ago. Yeah, he's the fastest Mini in the field, let's say.
They ran in Australia very successfully, a Mini series as well. They had all kinds of athletes and celebrities from different areas of the game come and play. Here is the 55. That's our pole sitter, Grant Dalton, who's had to recover. Let's look at this off the start line, Zach. What's happened here? Just bags it up low.
Absolutely, goes terribly to the left and then to the right. He's lost about 3 or 4 spins there.
Yeah, massively struggled for traction, and
Thompson's gone ahead there.
Magnificent car, this.
It's an extraordinary car, beautifully put together. Neil Allport and his team built the car for the previous owner, Andrew Nugent, and Grant has taken it onwards and upwards since then.
So he's in 3rd, as you can see now, chasing down Mortimer, Bagley leading the way.
And that's Graham Ball. He's running in this lone vehicle, I believe. Previous champion in the 2-litre class. A young fellow with a great deal of talent, and certainly now vying for the front ranks in the open class.
We're going to see a bit more racing from the BMWs a little bit later this afternoon. We've got a bit of a drama here.
Andrew Sharp, that's his first race meeting. It's a 335i based vehicle. Home developed. This is his first event, so it's a bit of a shakedown for him.
It's sort of in that area between turn 1 and the 6th loop.
Seems to be coming back.
Yeah, I thought I could see some steam for a moment there, but maybe not. It is rejoining the circuit there now, which is good news, albeit right at the very back of the pack. Let's have a look at the Super Sprint replay here. So
I think he's been having some issues with sensors. As I said, a bit of a shakedown for him this event. Perhaps it's just come a little bit early there. It's some sensor issues with, particularly going around the corners, he was saying. These are two 235i Cup cars, Martin Day and Barry Cope-Bernand. Martin Day, a long-time supporter Motorsport around the country, and Barry Kirkbernand, who's been in the series since the outset and across Targa and various other events in all manner of BMWs.
And Zach, I love the fact that they've kept those colours, iconic M Sport colours.
Absolutely beautiful colours. The only two colours I feel for BMWs are those Motorsport colours or perhaps a JPS type cover livery.
Now, we mentioned a moment ago that at about 3:15 local time here in New Zealand, we'll see the 46s and E30s out on track as well. And one of the things that the club does very well for newcomers to the series, you guys have a great buddy system, don't you? So if people are new and they want to get to grips with things, there's great camaraderie in the paddock.
Extraordinary camaraderie, and you get to see that most particularly when someone's got an issue. We've had all sorts of panel beating done in the pits, and certainly technical assistance, to get people back out on the track.
You know what happened just then? That was the sound of a few people at home telling you and I as commentators to shut up, because that car sounds amazing, and they wanted just to soak it up. It is glorious, isn't it? Through Dale ITM Pines, and headed now for turn 11. Dalton closing in on Mortimer for second as well in the background.
Yes, I think Dalton should have it over Mortz a little bit later on as the tyres get a little bit hotter.
How much of a factor has that been for you guys in the open class?
Absolutely, and particularly this, I know it's been spoken about earlier on, but at this circuit particularly, with the heat, the UV, but also the pumice-based dust creates issues for both wear and feel.
The love for the various divisions and classes, the growth that it's experienced since 2006, Dalton going very late under brakes in the way that the car is moving around, basically I think just underscores his frustration after that difficult start and losing all that ground. He may well wrestle second here from Mortimer, very close.
Mortz is starting to struggle there. The contrast and the noise between those two vehicles.
Here comes Dalton now, has a look down the inside. 85 out in the dirty stuff, and that
Bob Severide as well coming through there.
Drops 2 places, Mortimer in the space of 1 corner. So up into second now goes Grant Dalton. Here he is with 7 laps to go, margin of 4.1 seconds. The pace that we are seeing from Dalton's machine, he's doing 36.8s versus Grant Bagley doing 37s at the moment up in front. But mind you, the message to the 444 will be pretty clear to get on with it here, won't it? So
absolutely, and you can see Warren Mortimer's other car
stopped, is it?
Yeah, stopped on being pushed there. Lee Zeltwinger running that vehicle this weekend. Nice opportunity for the young man.
Incredible array of makes here, and lots of modern era cars that represent various different areas of what BMW has.
Oh, absolutely. I think the common theme with BMW, obviously front engine, rear wheel drive, beautifully balanced vehicles, so they tend to have the same strengths, just to varying degrees.
What about modifications here that you're allowed, judging by those rear wings? It's fairly open, isn't it?
Yeah, that's an X2-litre vehicle. I think it's now running a lightly modified 2.8. But he's got some work to make that into a real racer in the open class going forward.
Peterson getting by McCaskey. I think that is there for 14th place. We go back and have a look at 42.
Yeah, that's Martin Day, who just got ahead of him. That's in the 235IM Cup car. As you say, beautiful liveries held by both those vehicles. Some
left-hand drive, some right-hand drive, and some of them still keeping the passenger race seat, I notice as well.
Yes, as I say, some of the vehicles are very much road-based cars. Those Cup cars are works cars. Most of the vehicles out there that you'll see a left-hand drive are actually ex-works vehicles from one part of the Northern Hemisphere or another.
The response has been good. It's 5.3 seconds, so a couple of things to consider in that. It's turning the wick up in some respects, knowing that Dalton is coming, but has Grant used up maybe a bit of the best of the tyre in the...
I think that's a fair old distance to make up. Grant Bagley's car is a fantastic weapon in dry and wet conditions, and whilst Grant is equally there, I think it's probably left too much of a gap to make up.
So Bagley last time by was a 36.528. Dalton did a 37.24. So yeah, definitely Look at the gap between the pair of them. Now, 5 laps to go, admittedly, and a fair bit can happen in that time frame. Mortimer, who was up in second place early on, holding down 4th from Ball, Thompson, Broadhurst. Bajan, who we were talking about at the top of the coverage with Stephen, that's a nice story, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. There are a lot of family connections throughout the grids over the years through the BMW series, and yes, Kent Bajan probably got back into motor racing a little bit through me. He raced my M6 at a festival a few years ago in the intermission, and I think he got the bug back from the 1980s when he was in his heyday.
Nice. People will remember him from not just here in New Zealand, but obviously for the trips that he made to Mount Panorama Bathurst. Steph is holding down 9th place at the moment. Looks like Kent may not have started this race according to the timing. We'll verify that for you, but a wealth of experience.
Oh, extraordinary experience. When you go back to his incident that he had at Manfield probably about 35 years ago in a 635 BMW, a very large accident, and to come back from that alone is quite a feat.
Passion for BMW for you comes from where, and how long have you been a part of all this?
Oh goodness, 25, 30 years. My father had a 635 BMW, and that's where the passion started.
Nice. Driver Series has all sorts of offerings, and you can, in some respects, depending upon the make of your car, get good bang for your buck with racing across the weekend, can't you?
Oh, absolutely. I think if you look at an event like this, we get a full days of practices on the Friday, and full coverage of racing through the Saturday and the Sunday. It's bang for the buck with the BMW cars. The initial investment is not huge, and so you can get some vehicles in here are quite reasonable to get hold of. So.
And in some divisions, if you like, there's a bit of cross-entering goes on, so they actually end up in more than one race, don't they?
One of the early guys in the series, Nigel Patterson, out here in a 3.5 litre powered E30. He is often cross-pollinating with other classes.
I like that, cross-pollinating. Very, very good. They're well known for their honey here in New Zealand, aren't they? So 4 laps left to go in this one. V8 Utes, the Ryco V8 Utes, not too far away. We'll have the E46s and E30s coming up as well. And then before the afternoon concludes here at Taupō, race 1 for the Castrol Toyota Formula Regional Oceania Championship. If you've just tuned into our coverage, Callum Hedge doing a superb job at a pivotal time in qualifying. So one of 3 races left in the fight for the championship, and just 10 points separate Charlie Wirtz, son of Alex Wirtz, the 2-time Le Mans winner, the former F1 racer for the likes of McLaren, Williams, Benetton, and he's come into this, his son has come into this, Charlie Wirtz, with a 10-point lead over Callum with just 3 races remaining. It is going to be an epic title fight, and this has been nice for you guys to come and join us on the tour. Just tell us about the championship and where things are at the moment and where we're off to.
Yes, we're actually got one of our last visits ever to Pukekohe coming up very shortly towards the end of the month. So yeah, very, very significant race meeting for a lot of people. That's where it started for most, via a track day or a race meeting that they attended in person or watching. So it's going to be quite a significant weekend.
If you're interested in this, if you've got a bit of passion for the German marque, for BMW, and you think you might like to go racing with the various different classes that you offer, they can easily find you guys and become a BMW Car Club member.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Either through the BMW Car Club or directly through the BMW Race Driver Series. Both will give you help and assistance in getting your stuff together and choosing your vehicles. Very helpful people on both sides that certainly have helped me over the years.
Zach Lawrence with us in commentary. Thank you, mate. More importantly, how frustrated are you? Why aren't you out there?
Yes, I have a couple of cars to rebuild, and this is going to cost me a great deal because it's going to bring that forward, I'm sure.
Well, we've benefited from your commentary, so thank you for being with us. We go back up in front, and Dalton has, with a couple of laps to go, reduced that margin from 5 down to 3 seconds. So maybe cool things off a little bit here, wise head, and saved it for last.
Yeah, I think, he's halved that gap there. With just a couple of laps to go, I don't think Grant will actually be able to relinquish first place, but Goodness, it's going to be very mighty close there at the end.
Strengths maybe and weaknesses from the two cars. Doesn't look...
Race radio, 10 minutes till the pit exit opens.
So a little confirmation there from Motorsport New Zealand Race Control, just about keeping the schedule. But the focus for us here in commentary are these BMWs. Was the little 1 Series up in front there as well?
Back there, and is 130, I believe. There's the Cup car again.
Down the back straight, headed for Repco. The downshift, and then just carries a fraction more speed through the first of those corners. These two fighting over, what's that, 14th place. There we go, back up in front. Bewley with 1.3 over Dalton, who goes deep into that Tuhara turn. Now gets the drive out of there. You can see the way that car is moving around.
Similar horsepower from a V8 and a straight 6. Extraordinary vehicles, both of them.
Such a fiercely competitive athlete, and someone we've seen in muscle car competition in recent years, and now you're benefiting from his involvement with you guys too.
I've seen him at test days on motorbikes as well, where he's none too shabby there.
Oh, exactly, very handy. So I know he can be a little on the media shy side, and that is because he just purely loves his motor race. He just wants to go out, enjoy company, and go racing, doesn't he?
Indeed, just head down, helmet on, out of the limelight.
Which we respect, if I'm honest, because he's so in the limelight in so many other ways with everything that he does. So
Indeed.
Nice for him to just spend some time and enjoy it. So it's the two Grants going at it here with a little bit of lap traffic. Dalton goes, such is the determination, with less than a lap to go here to try and find a way, but I just don't think he's going to be able to do it.
No, Nigel Patterson just there ducking out to the left to keep away from Grant Dalton in his E30 3.5 litre. Just coming up on another 130 there.
Been a good run in the 444 through Dale ITM Pines for what should be the final time. Looks like they are standing by with the checkered flag here on the main straight. Grant Braguli is going to do this. That is a magnificent looking car of his too, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And if you go and see the detail of some of the engineering that's been put into it on top and below the vehicle, it's quite extraordinary.
Headed for Repco for the final time. Grant v Grant, but it's the 444 of Braguli that's going to do this from Grant Dalton. What an enjoyable race in the open class of the BMWs. Beautiful machinery. Unfortunately for the pole sitter, though, it was a difficult start, and Dalton had a mission on his hands trying to recover from there. Gets to second, though.
Very difficult to pull back a vehicle like Grant Braguli's car. It's an extraordinary weapon in its own right. Bob Sebright coming through there.
In the 777, he grabs third from Warwick Mortimer, who was very much in the mix to be headed for our Super Sprint Motorsport New Zealand victory lane early on, but it was a 2 for the price of 1 scenario when they got by him, wasn't it? Ran a little wide and into the marbles and some of the dirty stuff off the ideal racing line, and they were able to sneak by. We're looking forward to seeing the E30s and E46s a little later this afternoon as well. As I said, don't forget, of course, the Ryco V8 Utes will be on track in terms of, we go back and have a look at
coming into the complex. That's Marty Irvine in the yellow car, past champion in the E30s.
Not too shabby out of the Repco section there either, squeezing the absolute most that he can from that car. So we'll take a look for you at the results. Confirmed results for the Super Sprint Motorsport New Zealand BMW Race Driver Series. This is race 1 of the open class. Congratulations to Grant Braguli, who takes it out from Grant Dalton. Bob Sebright there in third. Then Warwick Mortimer in the 85 that we were just discussing before getting home in fourth place. Steph Bajan, well done, picks up 2 places toward the end, going from 9th to 7th.
Marvellous effort.
A little further back, Phil Peterson in 12th. Martin Irvine 15th, and Martin Day rounds out your top 16 competitors in this class. Well done to Jonathan Pearce as well for Dynamic Motorsport, down in 19th place. But all sorts of different cars in this class. Time for some highlights for you now in the open class of the BMWs. Watch Grant Dalton off the line right of your screen. Gets a huge amount of wheel spin, and the pole sitter is absolutely swamped off the line. Drops back to about 5th place and has to recover from there. And he would recover, would ultimately get to 2nd, but not enough to challenge for the race win.
No, it's too much to ask for him to get past such a fast car as Grant Baguli. Warwick Mortimer enjoyed his time at number 2 and ultimately dropped down to number 4 with Bob Sebright coming there with his GTR, twin turbo powered GTR.
Magnificently prepared 444 of Baguli. Had a 5-second lead at one point, but then Dalton sort of let everything recover and went again with the final few laps and was able to reduce that margin down to about 3 seconds. On the run to the line, though, there was no stopping Baguli, who wins it from Grant Dalton.